Every day around us, we have stories and images of success. And the stories and images of success really are often image oriented, meaning the way somebody looks and what they're seen doing and what they're seen driving, and maybe even how they're viewed in the public eye. So I think about all those stories of success and think about what it is to be raised in this world that values that kind of success to the degree that we do. And I think about magazine covers as we're standing in the market, whether we subscribe to them or not. But every one of those essentially has the caption underneath a photo that says success and success and success. Maybe some of the more salacious magazines have failure, failure, failure. But the magazine's claiming an erroneous success in publishing the story. But you and I have to think about what it is to raise children and grandchildren in a world and in a society that values this kind of exterior success of the car, the new body parts, the clothing, the house, all the things that make us seem and feel successful only to each other. But when we ask ourselves what it is to be successful, usually when we come down to it, it's a solitary assessment of ourselves. If we take everybody away from the story, everybody else, their eyes off our lives, we get a different assessment of how successful we are. I am successful in relation to the expectations of other people. I am unsuccessful in relation to the expectations and views and judgments of the people around me. But what about when I come back to the reality of just being me every day? Silencing those voices and blinding those eyes to me and saying to myself, what is it to be me in this day and to be successful? I think always the answer is internal. Because what we see in the mirror probably doesn't matter to us if it doesn't matter to other people, whether it's our aging or our hair during the pandemic or even the car we drive. Those things don't matter, especially when the car has never been driven in a year. But let's leave that alone. But what it is to be successful in all of the spiritual senses of our lives and the spiritual traditions of the world has always been an interior understanding of success. In Judaism, there's a lot of wisdom to offer in this, and wisdom is usually related to the interior, our inner selves. And one of the ideas of success or models of success that I like comes from a section of the text called Pirkei Avot, the lessons of our fathers or our ancestors. In other words, the wisdom of great ideas, great thinkers that came before us. And it says that a person's success essentially is measured by the Hebrew alliteration is beautiful, kiso, kaso, and koso, in a different order, but essentially it's saying his koso, his cup, meaning how he relates to excess in his life, literally the cup of wine, whether he has management over it or it rules over him or her. The second is kiso, which is his or her wallet, what they do with what they earn, how generous they are, how moderate they are in the way they live, and how much they pour that generosity into the world, into causes around them that need them desperately and need it desperately, that kind of generosity. Because the wallet is a symbol that we have of our relationship to other people and our obligation to other people. And the third one is kaso, which is his or her, your or my anger. Are we able to manage our anger, or does it own us and control us to the detriment of ourselves and other people and our relationships in our lives? So you can expand on each of those ideas, right? Every one of those can be expanded, and maybe this week at some point you'll have a conversation with yourself, journaling, or with other people, which is to say, well, what else could it mean? What is the kos? What is the cup in my life? What is it that is my success in relation to what I hold? And then we look at the kiso, which is our pockets, and ask ourselves and other people, so what do we do with this? There's a Talmudic teaching that says for the first half of our lives, we should be pulling in toward ourselves, in other words, gathering, because we need to steady and to support and secure our present and future. But in the second half of our lives, in those days it might have been 35 or 28, we need to give away. We need to pour out of ourselves. So that's an interesting relationship to a kind of success and a measure of success that we might realize is more important. And the third one, as I said, is our anger. And maybe our anger relates to our emotion. How much does our emotion control us? And how much does our emotion get the better of us and stop us or limit us in the journey that we're making in our lives toward betterment, toward wisdom, and toward true success. So, as always, I hope these thoughts are informal but helpful for all of you, as they are for me.